I am, and there is none like me. Does it make you think of anybody? You don't have to look very far, do you, to see a society like that. I love the book of Daniel. If you've never had any study in Daniel, take some time to do that. The first part of Daniel has tons of history. If you're a history buff, you'll love it. A lot of things that were prophesied, foretold, that have now been laid out in history. And the last part of Daniel is about eschatology, which is the study of end times. And in my opinion, if we're not already there, we're really close. And so it's a great study. Well, I was looking through Daniel the other day, and just a couple of, actually not even verses, just a couple of statements and words jumped out at me. So I'd like for us to turn to Daniel, and let's look in chapter 1, and let's go first of all to verse 8. And it says, "But Daniel," and if you highlight or mark in your Bible, put a highlight, circle, underline, resolved. But Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food and wine, and he asked the chief official for permission not to defile himself this way. King Nebuchadnezzar, had gathered up the most pretty, the most intellectual, the youngest, the very cream of the crop is what he had pulled in to surround himself with, because that's what was important to him. Do you think we don't have a society like that, all about youth and looking the best and the youngest and the smartest? And he wanted to take these young men through trainings that went against what Daniel and his three friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, what they stood for, what their God stood for. And Daniel was the only one and his three friends to stand up and say, "No, I do not want to defile myself with this." And so I ask you, in your world right now, with all that's going on, there's a lot of oppressiveness and offenses and just total chaos going on around us. Are you a Daniel? Do you stand up and say, "No, I'm not going to act like that. I'm not going to choose to say those words. I'm not going to be that way, because all of that will defile me"? So I encourage you to remember that Daniel, be like Daniel and resolve, make the determination and set in you that you will not defile yourself with the same "I am, there's no one like me" Babylonian mentality that they had in Daniel that we have today. And then if you'll turn over, the other little statement that jumped out at me, let's go to chapter 2 and look at verses verse 27 and 28. Daniel replied, "No wise man, enchanter, musician can explain to the king the mystery he has asked about. But," and here's something else to underline, "there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries." Don't ever forget that there is a God in heaven, and he sees, he knows, and he's in control. Sometimes it can feel like we're just out here like fish floundering around in this wild, crazy world. But we are not. There is a God in heaven. So we will not defile ourselves. As Christians, we will stay strong, and we will put our trust in not the society around us, not what people think we should say or do, but there is a God in heaven, and we will place our trust in him. Thanks for joining me. Hope you have a great day. Be blessed.